Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, and I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for being intentional with your productivity, and thank you for your time. You are watching me on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube network, where please remember to like, subscribe, and even be notified when new episodes drop. I also encourage you to check out our website. Look at some of the programs that we have to offer. Are you interested in a show of your own? Do you want to learn from a listening expert? You can do that. Again, check out our website, usaglobaltvandradio.com. Today on Intentional Productivity Tips, we are going to talk about productivity and you. Specifically, our topic today is productivity and you. It's part one of a series, and it's your learning, expanding your mind your way. When we think of productivity, when we think of this day and age, we think of how is it that we can grow, improve, and continue to enjoy the life that we've created and all that there is out there that's available. This week, we want to talk a little bit about your learning. We're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about your learning, expanding your mind your way. A curiosity check. We're going to look at what your curiosity. We're going to talk a little bit about intentional insight. We're going to talk about redefining professional development. And then we've got an action plan for you to go with the flow. The purpose of this, be curious on purpose. Follow your interests, open your mind, and watch how it changes everything. I will be honest, there are some times when I talk to clients about learning, they're like, oh, Megan, I can't deal with it right now. I'm learning too much. And I 100% agree. That's why I think we want to talk and be intentional about our learning, intentional with our learning, because we want to think about how do we need and want to expand our minds in our way. When we think about it, it's about a curiosity check. It's about what is it that we want to learn in life. Whenever you choose what you learn, you grow in ways and matters to you. It's not just about a new skill. It's about shaping how you think, feel, and see the world. That's why I really want us to start talking a little bit about learning your way. There have been times, again, when I've had clients that are like, oh, not too interested in this, right? But I want to ask, that's when I ask them, where are you curious? Are there things you're curious about in life? Your brain grows in every direction you let it. Let's be curious on purpose, and you'll keep opening doors that you didn't even know were there. So I've got a couple questions that I want to ask as we get started, because I want you to start thinking a little bit about this element of and the thought of curiosity when it comes to your learning your way. Let's do a little bit of a curiosity check, right? Let's do a little bit of a check. And I'm going to ask you two questions, and I just want you to answer them for yourself, right? Question one, what am I curious about that I've been ignoring? Is there anything in this world that you've been curious about that you're ignoring? I don't just mean work topics. I don't just mean professional development topics. I mean, it could be bird watching. It could be baking, right? When you think about it, is there something you're curious about that you want to learn about? What is that? Second, what's one thing you want to learn about that has nothing to do with work? Maybe nothing even to do with the screen. I've had clients that have said, I am done with the screen. I need time away. And I tend to agree with that. What's something you want to learn completely outside of work or that situation? Here's my challenge to you. Start a learning wish list, at least one with at least one work-related task, one work-related curiosity, and one non-work related curiosity, right? We want to start thinking about what are we curious. I've had people ask me, how do you figure that out? Okay, so have you ever had a situation when maybe you're sitting down, it's evening, it's weekend, you're sitting down to watch something on TV, and as soon as you start watching it, you start asking yourselves questions like, oh, where is that? Oh, I think I was at that hotel. Oh, who was that actor? What did that actor do when they were six, right? Have you ever gone down those rabbit holes? I mean, I have. It's important in those moments when we start realizing, what is it that we liked learning there? What was it that we were curious about? What information might we want to gather when you think about it? Why we want to continue learning is because it's going to continue our mind expanding in new ways. Why is that an important thing these days? Because there's so much going on, right? We have so many things in our life that we want to be sure that we're learning and continuing to grow. And we want to make sure that our time is productive. We want to think about how it is that we're spending our time. Are we spending all our time on work tasks? Do we want to spend time doing something else? Guess what? Curiosity check and learning something new is a really good way to spend doing time another way. It is so essential for us to redefine in some ways professional development. And I know there's people who are going to be like, but this corporation, and absolutely, yes. When you think about it, I am not talking about professional development programs you might be used to. I am thinking about productivity in you. I am talking about productivity and your learning. What do you want to learn for your mind to make it richer and expand it? When the professional development and learning I'm talking about, this is about wants, not shoulds. This is not about outcomes, deliverables, or timelines. This learning is about fun and expanding your mind. I'll be honest about, well, now it's almost 5 years ago. In December of 2020, I've brought this up before. I was offered to work on a project in a new situation, right? Project manager, we need a project manager, and it's in network architecture and cybersecurity, things I never knew about, right? And there was a part of me when I was offered this project where I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that. I will tell you the amount of information I have learned over the last 5 years because I stepped into that project and was like, I can learn this. I can learn this information. So much so that, I mean, I grew, so much so that SPP, Strategic Productivity Partner, my business is now a part of Indelible, right? That's because I learned so much while starting at Indelible. I realized there are things I want to learn for myself too. The amount of cybersecurity I have learned and information about network architecture has blown my mind. But that's not the powerful part I want to share with it. The powerful part is, besides learning all those things, I needed a little bit of counterbalance in my life. I needed to be able to say, okay, it has been great that I've been learning all of that. But let's be honest, all of that was screen-based, right? Most of that I was on my laptop or I was reading on a screen. And through all of that learning, there were times when my mind was like, done, I need a break from this. That is where having a learning plan and professional development my way helped, because I realized like I had all this information coming at me in one area of my life, which was good but overwhelming. I knew I needed to expand some other areas of my life. And this is something that I've worked with clients a lot on for the last 2 years, right? This is kind of post-pandemic. This is the last 2 years, 24, 2025, where I've been saying, okay, what are you learning for yourself? Let's be intentional. We know, again, there's a lot of opportunities. Let's look at how we can take control of that. One thing I mentioned earlier is a wish list, right? Where is an ideas list? I've had plenty of clients who've been like, I don't know what I want to learn? And so that's where when clients mention something, I'll jot it down as a wish list for them, and I'll suggest, let's start that, right? Some of the things that I've had clients learn that I've learned a lot. I had one client take a storytelling class. He was a consultant that was very technical, and he wanted to change some of his storytelling ways. He's written some great story sets, right? Another client wanted to learn about stand-up comedy, maybe cooking or baking classes, bird watching, learning about bird watching. Have any of you, I will tell you, on my 2025 bingo card of how I was going to live my life, I did not realize that the first quarter of 2025, I was going to spend hours and hours and hours watching 2 baby eagles born in Big Bear. Has anyone here watched the baby eaglets from Big Bear and FOB TV this year? Oh my gosh, I learned so much more about bald eagles than I ever knew, right? When we think about opportunities to expand our mind, it's going to help us grow. So bird watching, maybe it's crafting or journaling or painting or photography. What are those things you want to spend time on to expand your mind and learn? Key point, intentional learning is about choosing what grows you as a person. We're talking about not just you professionally. We're not just talking about a project or a job. We're talking the whole of you, productivity and your learning. This is about low stress, high lean into learning fun, and completely about expanding your mind. So take some time. If there's anything you're interested in, that's one of the things I say is when we start to do some of those scrolls and some of those deep dives when we might be watching TV or when we might be internet surfing or something, pay attention because there's a reason you're deep diving into that. There's a curiosity. It's your curiosity that's going to help us grow your learning in a way that you want in topics that interest you. When we think about the curiosity of our learning loop and we think about professional development, it really is a flow. There really is a strategy to it. I want you to think about the 5 steps for the curiosity learning loop that I have found, right? First, we remember something we wanted to learn about. For example, I'm going to a baking class on Saturday. I'm super excited, although it's cake decorating and that's not my forte. But remember something you want to learn about. Then you wonder and explore, wonder, where can I do this? How can I do this? What can I try? That's the third part, try it, right? Even though I think maybe going to a cake decorating class on Saturday, I think I might not be good at it. Who cares? I'm eating cake, right? Who cares about that outcome? This is not about outcomes and stress. If you start to stress about it, stop. This process is about learning and growing your mind for fun. So after you remember what it was you want to do and you wonder and explore it, you want to try it. Then you want to notice the difference that it's had in your life. You want to notice the impact that it's had, what you've learned and what you've processed. And then you want to share it with someone else. You want to talk about it. You want to teach, you want to share with people what you've learned. Maybe you're able to incorporate it into a work setting. Maybe you're able to incorporate it into a family or with friends. The curiosity learning loop is important in our lives because when you think about it, in these day and ages, we have to teach and figure out a lot of things on our own. I don't know about you. Sometimes I get burnt out on it. So I want to do something for fun. This is an effort, and the focus of today is you're learning your way. What is learning development you can work on for you? This is not about KPIs, no rules, just follow the loop. Remember, wonder, try, notice, and share. Learn and keep expanding your mind. Once we have an idea, a wish list, and once we have and are aware of the curiosity learning loop, then we're able to put it into practice and we're able to go with the flow. So the action planning of what do I do? Okay, once I've thought about it, Megan, thank you, right? How do I make this happen? As you know, here at Intentional Productivity Tips, this is the meat of what we're always going to get into. We're always going to get into the specifics of how to turn this into action for you specifically. So there are 4 steps, right? Action planning. We're going to go with the flow. Fun first, lay it out, organize yourself, and whatever makes it work 4 steps, we're going to follow the flow. Key point, you're scheduling joy, not work. Let your curiosity flow and have fun. So let's break down how it is. So we've talked a little bit about learning. We've talked about a wish list. So let's break it down for how can you take some ideas you might have, how can you make your learning your way and turn it into action steps for you? So let's take a look at that right now. So it's important to admit you've given yourself permission. Now make it real. Let's think of this as a letting curiosity flow. So we want to start with fun first. Anytime I start something new, anytime I suggest a new, whether it's an activity, a new project, a new hobby, anything at all, think of the fun first. How can you make it exciting for yourself? For me, if I'm starting something new, I'm going to probably buy some new markers. I'm going to probably buy a new notebook. I might even personalize the notebook into something that I want so that it's fun for me. I want to be able to start and enjoy the process, right? I also am going to plan it. When I plan it, I want to have fun with that. So maybe I have a planning session with a friend, myself. Maybe I have a glass of champagne. Maybe I go someplace for a pedicure. What is it that maybe I go to an ice cream store and have ice cream and plan and think about my activity and learning. We want to incorporate fun first into the activity and our learning lesson. You need to identify what fun first is for you. Like I said, for me, it's identifying the things that are going to make it a fun environment. It's including bubbles is always going to help, or ice cream, But again, something that I like to be able to have an occasion and say, I'm going to go and figure out how I'm going to work on this. Then you want to lay it out. You want to plan your curiosity with the care you plan a meeting, right? If we plan and we know we're going to plan a work project, and if we're going to plan a project for someone else or for a customer or a client, shouldn't we spend that same intentionality on ourselves? Shouldn't we spend that same effort on ourselves? I say yes. So you want to lay it out. You want to plan the curiosity. You want to identify what's the day? How are you going to make it work? Is there something you need to do to get ready? Do you want to lay out what are the things that you need? What is it that you're going to work on? Is it painting? I want to work on painting. I want to work on painting scenery. So lay out what the idea is. I want painting of a scenery that I'm going to frame and I'm going to give as a gift, right? Or whatever that might be. You want to plan it. You want to choose the day. You want to plan how you're going to do it and make it exciting. Third, very important here, organize your stuff. What are the stuff and things you need? If we're going to be painting, do you have an easel? Do you have paints? Are you going to use watercolors? Again, our goal here is not to make it stressful. If the question seems stressful, it's time to back off and say, okay, let's not lose the purpose of this. The purpose of this is that I want to have fun with a new activity. What's the best way to do that? And so you want to organize yourself, but with purpose, with positivity, and looking forward to what do you need. For example, I'm going to a cake decorating class on Saturday, which meant I needed to go to Michael's yesterday and buy a cake spinner. And for that, I say, yay, that was a fun trip to Michael's. So get the things you want and have fun doing that as well. And then the fourth step, whatever makes it work. Do what works best for you, whether it's 15 minutes on a Tuesday night, whether it's a full day on a weekend, if it's a chance that you get between your meetings, make it work for you. This is your curiosity, your learning, and your rules. When we think of productivity, we think of how we're organizing our tasks a lot of time, or our project management, all key elements of productivity. Our mindset and making sure that we're continuing to learn is another huge element of productivity. Because if we're in that curious mode where we're learning and we're having fun and we're embracing new ideas, isn't that going to affect our day job too? Isn't that going to make us better as a person in general, a better friend, family member, better partner, right? If we're learning and investing in ourselves with intention and we know what we want to do, we're able to grow forward. It is important to be intentional with our flow It's important to be intentional with our learning. There's been many times when, again, I've had clients say, "Oh, I don't need to worry about that, Megan." And I'm like, "Okay, all right." And I always, I respect that, but I'm going to come back to it in a month. I'm going to come back to it in 2 months because there's a time and place when we need to say, yes, I'm going to take control of my learning. So, my question to you, what is it that you want to learn? What is it that you want to work? What is it that you want to explore? Give yourself permission to have fun with learning. Again, no KPIs allowed. This is about fun. So here's my 2 final questions for you to ponder as you're moving forward. As you know, every week, one of my goals is that you're able to take away at least one action item, one thing you can take and learn from. And today, as we're talking about productivity and you're learning your way, I want you to ponder first, what's one thing you've learned that has nothing to do with your job, but has changed the way you feel? In the past, what's one thing that you've learned that's changed your trajectory, right? That's made you feel better. That wasn't related to your job. For me, learning yoga and meditation has definitely been a life changer for me. Learning about yoga has helped me physically and mentally, right? So, what's that for you? And then, second, what's the next thing you want to learn just because you want to? There's no rhyme or reason, none needed. What's that next thing you want to learn? Again, when we're thinking of ourselves, again, when we're thinking of growing as humans, and we're thinking of how it is that we want to live. When we think about intentional productivity tips, the purpose of this show is to begin to look and say, how can we take control of our time? How can we be intentional with our lives? We work really, really hard. How can we enjoy what we've created? This week, I want you to give yourself permission to have fun with learning. No KPIs allowed. I truly encourage you to take some time, think about your learning your way. What is your wish list? What's on your wish list? Any one of you want to become a stand-up comedian? I had a person that learned how to be a political cartoonist and worked on illustrations. So the options are endless. They're completely personal to you. There's no wrong reason as long as you keep learning. So that is my challenge to you. I want to thank you again for spending time with me. As always, I am here every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific. We're a few minutes late today. I thank you for being flexible with that. But I thank you for joining me with intentional productivity tips. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner. If you ever have questions, comments, concerns, or even a knock-knock joke that you want to share with me, or maybe something on your wish list, you can always email me at megan@indelible.global. Website for my business is indelible.global as well. I encourage you over the next couple of days to be intentional and think about your learning your way. Remember, productivity is about you. It is the one place we get to be 100% selfish. It's all about us. Productivity is our domain. You are the ruler of your roost when it comes to figuring out what you want to learn for you and how you want to do it. I want to thank you for joining me today to be intentional with your productivity. I want to thank you for being intentional with your time. Most important, I want to thank you for taking time to invest in yourself. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner. I will be back next week because we're going to continue to talk about productivity and you. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait for you to see what we've got. But before then, I hope you'll take time filling up that wish list and finding things you want to learn about just for you. Remember, no pressure, no stress, no KPIs. Learning for you in your mind to make your life better. Thanks again for joining me. Take time for you this week. You've worked really, really hard and you deserve it. Do something special for you. I know I'm doing something special for me. Enjoy your week and thank you for being here. Now a word from our sponsors.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, this 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.